realm of Islam, I acknowledge the fact that they are within the realm of Islam. I won't do the same. As we are all within, like it or not, we have different interpretations. So this is the starting point of a very deep understanding. And then you have now the meaning of jihad and understanding Islam is the Western religion, is the Canadian religion. What can we do with this? Which kind of jihad? What do we have to do now in our situation in Canada for you and in the West for all of us? So the first thing is to understand there is one danger. And the first danger is this one. It's really this one is alienation. Alienation is problematic. It's problematic because within the concept of alienation, if you go through the normative understanding of alienation or the Marxist understanding of alienation, which was the word which was used in all the process of understanding in which we, in the job market, in the economic process, you can be alienated and your work can be alienated from who you are as a subject. This is something which is very important. Alienation, one of the first dimensions in the normative sense, is when you think of yourself through the eyes of the other. You are not looking at yourself as a subject, this is me, but you think of yourself through the eyes of what is said about you, through the perception of the other. It's a mediated understanding of the self. So you are alienated. You are no longer the subject of your own history, you are the object of the understanding of the other. So it's thinking by proxy. And this is something which is today very problematic, because this is showing the first psychological and intellectual crisis that we can face. And the second thing is, and this is also coming from the Marxist tradition, and this is why it's quite interesting, is that when you are producing something, you don't find yourself, you being a subject in what you are producing. It's as if what you are producing is not humanized. It's not coming from your own production, from your own self. It's something that you are producing. So alienation is when you don't have the full command of what you are producing, is not to be a complete subject in what you are producing. Because there are interferences, there are things that are not letting you producing what you have to produce as a subject. So alienation is all about the status of the subject as a human being. And why is it so important for Muslims today to understand this? Because we are not living in very easy time. If you look at what is, we are, once again, I'm not one of those who are blaming the media by saying they are doing, bad things. They are just following what the people like. And we are the first to like what the media are doing, so we are nurturing the system. Because it's very easy to sit and say, oh, the media, the journalists are, but we are the first to look at what and watch what they are doing. And to buy it. They are making money with us, we are the consumers. So you can't just blame people, it's a system. And we have to understand the way it works. But the point here is for us to understand that the perception, the current perception in the West about Islam is negative. Mainly negative. The perception when it comes to surveys in, for example, I'm always quoting this. In France, they had a survey a few years ago. What is for you the meaning with what are you connecting the concept of the word Islam? 75% of the people are connecting Islam with violence. And it's quite normal. With what we are watching, with what we are hearing, the psychological reality is Islam is perceived as a problem and negative. You cannot avoid this today in the West, and even now in Canada, even though it's much better than in any other countries, and you have to take advantage of this, it's quite clear that now it's becoming more as a problem. And to be a Muslim, be perceived as problematic. If now you are perceived as a practicing Muslim, you don't know where practicing Muslims and where the radical and the, this binary vision that we have, the bad and the good Muslims. So here, there is something which is very important for us, is to deal with this atmosphere and to deal with this environment. Alienation will become a reality if, under the pressure of the time, the pressure of what is said about Islam, you build an attitude which is an attitude on the defensive. You keep on responding to questions that are coming and say, no, you know what, I'm good. I'm kind. I'm not violent. I'm very tolerant. I don't even fast. You know what? I'm good. And you have people saying, don't laugh at this. These are serious things. That there are people saying, you know, this one is a moderate Muslim. He drinks alcohol. Thank you. Mean by this, that the perception is that we have a construction, a very simplistic construction of what a Muslim is, and you end up with something that we knew before. It happened before under colonization, the bad and the good, the binary vision, categorization of the Muslims. The good Muslims and the bad Muslims. Now, the good Muslims, it depends where, it depends the features. For example, in France, if you go with a headscarf, you are straight away, there is a list of questions. The first question is headscarf. You say, I think the women should be free to wear it. You are on the dark side of the list, blacklist. You're in the bad. If you say, no, the headscarf, no, you don't have to do it. You are in the enlightened side. Good. In Canada, it wouldn't be the same. In other countries, you are going to be asked about homosexuality. In other countries, you are going to be asked very sensitive questions, and there is a list. And you are going to be put on one side or in the other. The point is not this. These questions and these lists are per se bad. But the point is the psyche, the mindset behind it. It's a kind of pressure that is put, and psychologically, you cannot say I'm not influenced by that. Of course you are going to be influenced. And this psychological influence could be alienation. Because you end up adapting your attitude to the current situation. To be less visible, to be nice. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm invited in some settings with Muslims, and they invite me intricate dialogue. And they have just with them non-Muslims. And during all my talk, they are looking at the non-Muslims saying, they like it. Ask yourself psychologically what it means. I look at what I am listening to you through the ears of the other. If he likes it, I like you. If he doesn't, I'm going to forget about you. You get the point? Very important. This is alienation. This is the very meaning of alienation, is that you look at yourself through what the people are going to think of you. So you are not assuming, you are not assertive, you are not confident. You are just looking to please the people, and to please the people is not going to help us. I'm not going to feel good if I'm just here to please you. Because by pleasing you, I may just feel bad. It's just the superficial attitude. And this psychological superficial attitude to please you could put me in a situation where I'm not at ease. And at the end, it's not going to work. Because the point is not to please you, it's just to be at peace with myself and at peace with you. At the end of the day, it's all about peace. The peace word. So this is where it's quite important to be able here to understand that and to avoid anything and to refuse anything which has to do with binary vision, moderate, not moderate, and sometimes, you know, the moderate has, once I was told, oh, this moderate Muslim is an ex-Muslim. You know, this categorization, this is it. So it means here that it's quite important to understand the in-depth of this atmosphere and this psychological pressure. And to do this, for the Muslims, it's really important to come to the very meaning of what, if you are Muslim and you live in the West, if you want to get this sense of confidence, at the end of the day, there is only one way. It's not to adapt yourself to what the people are expecting. It's to ask yourself the very essence of your religion. And in fact, at the end of the day, it's the quest for meaning. Is that if you are a Muslim, and if you are a believer, practicing or not practicing, at the end